Yo, what is going on, bros? Glad to see you back. Today, I have a couple things to talk about, so let's dive right into it.
What we do here is go back.
So I picked up a couple of tools, and I've been sitting over here in my little corner, and I've been welding up the exhaust manifold for the W210, the M104. So I was actually waiting on tools and parts for a couple of days, and so I wasn't able to be working on the exhaust manifold. But I was able to get everything electrical done in the car, so everything electrical is complete. There might just be one or two things that I need to deal with afterwards, along with the O2 sensor, the lambda sensor. I already had the intake tubing, had a bung welded on for the intake air temp, and I think I figured out how to split the crank signal between the stock and the max ECUs. So I basically just tied into that, and there's some settings inside of the max ECU where you don't pull one of the legs going to that sensor to the ground. You leave it as an open circuit or something like that. I can't remember exactly the settings, but I was able to change that over so that it should have the crank signal go to the stock ECU and the max ECU. Fingers crossed, hoping that that works. So really the only thing left to do with that, other than a couple of wires, is just tune it. So the only thing I'm waiting on right now is to get the exhaust manifold done. And I'm going to give you guys an update here on that in just 1 second. But all the intercooler piping from the throttle body all the way back to the intercooler on the bottom, that's all done. I have the intercooler bracket all hooked up there. That's all done. Like I said, last thing is this exhaust manifold. So let's go take a look at it. So here's what I've got so far. These are straight. So these are going to come out straight. This front bank right here, these are going to be straight out. These are curved down so that I can make room for the downpipe that comes off the back of the turbo and then goes down right here. So we want to have enough room. So these are going to come down a little bit and then merge and then come forward like this. While this is going to be a little bit higher, and it's going to merge and then come up right here, and then the turbo is going to sit somewhere in this range. So the collector right here with the turbo flange is going to sit up in this area, and so these will come down and then kind of come up to it, and then this is just going to come right out and then up to it. So that's the plan with that. Then I welded up two 3-to-1 collectors, and I've also been working on an adapter to go from this oval right here, because you take your 3 pipes. I didn't even cut this with like an angle finder or anything like that. You can probably tell if you look at it, and it's also not even the same as this guy here. Yeah, you can tell that the 2 lines are off, this line here and this line here. It doesn't really matter, honestly. I mean, it does, but I don't care. I didn't have to pay a whole bunch of money for this collector. I just bought the pipe, and so this is basically 3 4-inch pipes, 4 inches long like this. They're 1.5 inches, and which is pipe schedule 10. And then I put them all together like this. Then I have this other pipe. This is actually not pipe, it's tubing, but it's the correct size. It's gonna match up pretty closely to our 2.5-inch elbows right here. And yes, I'm using stainless and regular steel. I don't care. I bought some of the wrong stuff. I learned my lesson, but I'm gonna use what I got now. It's gonna be half stainless, half regular steel manifold. So anyways, I was taking some pipe right here, and then I was taking the end of it and I was laying it on top of my anvil, and then I was hammering it down to get it kind of flat. And you have to work it a little bit. I have another one right here that I was working with, and I just recently cut it and then got it all cleaned up. And so you can see you kind of have to work it and then open the ends up and make it a little more square so that it can fit perfectly inside of here, but I was able to get it pretty good. So that's just going to sit in there, pretty close to running that area, just like this. Then what I'm going to do, this is just tacked on. I'm going to take this and I'm going to open this up. I'm going to squish these in and open this up to a pretty good circle. Similar to how this looks, how you got this square in here and then mostly circle here. I'll probably work this just a hair more and get it perfectly circular. But yeah, you just square one end, circle the other. So once I weld this all up and it's good to go, then I will open this up to a circle, and then I'll have a 1.5-inch to 2.5-inch pipe 3-in-1 collector. And then that way, right out the bottom of it, I'll have my elbow coming off and then kind of pointed up towards the turbo, however that's going to go. And it is a little bit time consuming to pound this stuff out. I mean, it really does suck. If you look at my anvil, this is a new anvil. This is the only thing I've used it for. And if you look at the surface of this, I've already beaten it pretty good. I've been using this for hours and hours, and with a sledgehammer, I've just been beating, especially this big stuff here with the sledgehammer on the anvil. And I'll set it over here on this cardboard on the floor, and I'll beat it really good. And then once it's beaten, I cut it. And the reason why I beat it and then cut it is because when it stays on the pipe like this for longer, it helps the other end of it that you're not beating stay closer to a circle. Otherwise, the whole thing might flatten out. And so this way, you keep the other end closer to a circle, like this, you can see that one end is closer to a circle, so I'll weld this on, and then this side I'll flatten back out this way back into a circle again. So really that was the hardest stuff. I've never really welded anything like this before, and this is my first time doing this, and I would say that I'm doing pretty okay. Some of my welds aren't the greatest, but just look at this. I mean, that's definitely gonna get the job done. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the only thing that I'm working on is this here, and then once I get that on, I can bolt the turbo on, get the oil loop all hooked up, and then start turning the engine over and see if I can get crank signal. As long as I've got crank signal going to the stock, or at least just the max ECU, I should theoretically be able to start everything, because I can have the turbo on top of the manifold, and then I can have the intercooler piping going all the way through, exhaust coming right out the back of the turbo, and I can probably get this thing to start and idle. So that's the goal. I'm really hoping that in the next couple of days I can get this going, at least before the next episode. But that's it. I'm just waiting to complete up all the turbo manifold stuff. So you guys stay tuned, subscribe if you're not, like the video, hit me up down in the comments, and I will see you very soon.